Hello and welcome back to Aftermatch Aftermath. You join us after Liverpool's second game in this year's domestic season and 6 points in total from 2 games after a pretty convincing 2-0 win against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. I feel like there were a number of talking points from the game, but before we get onto that, 2 very big talking points from Camp Liverpool over the weekend between episodes, which was the signings of THIAGO Alcantara and Diogo Jota from Bayern Munich and Wolves respectively. I'm going to start with the THIAGO deal. 20 million to be paid over 4 years, which is ridiculously cheap for the player that we're getting.
I think it was 5 million bonuses as well.
5 million to be added on if we go on to win, either retain the Premier League title or win the Champions League, which I don't think anyone will complain about if we have to pay an extra 5 million at the end of the year.
No, definitely not. I think there's also a Ballon d'Or clause in there as well, which, might be optimistic, but, again, if he wins it, I'm not gonna complain.
But what I wanted to start with was THIAGO. What, in your opinion, does he offer Liverpool that we don't already have?
He's so creative. Like, I originally didn't know him until like a few months back when the rumours first started, but I've gone back and watched a few of his matches with Bayern, and he's so creative. He's got good vision, and I think this is going to be a key thing for this season as well, as he brings in players to him. He draws in people, which frees up area on other parts of the pitch, which I think is going to be crucial for us. So, like, if we can pull back people, like other clubs' midfield, get like 3 or 4 of them on him, if he can pull out successfully, get a nice little cross down either of the wings and set up a decent chance at getting a goal, I think that's what he brings to us. I think currently we haven't got anyone that does it quite like he does. Keita, I'd argue, could do it, but not as well as THIAGO does, I think.
I don't think we really have anyone that drops in quite as deep as THIAGO does, from what I've seen of him.
Yeah.
Actually, when you said that, you only heard of him like a few months ago. If you are only just listening to this podcast like this season, we covered a number of games towards the tail end of last season, which is when we started. I actually did mention that Liverpool were looking at THIAGO Alcantara a long time ago. And at the time, none of us had really heard of him, and we all sort of came to the conclusion we don't need a midfielder. It's busy enough. But yeah,
it's pretty stacked anyway.
Got my ear to the ground on those transfers, so stay tuned to this podcast for future stuff. That
up until like a few days ago,
it did happen.
Up until a few days ago, it was just a rumour, and then it was official contact, and within a day it was done.
Yeah, so. Both of them were, but we'll get on to Jota in a second. Yeah, THIAGO, I think it's definitely like a creative outlet in midfield that he offers, but one of the good things about him is he can play across that midfield in either a holding position or a little bit further forward, or that number 6 position, which is, I think, going to be key for us, where he drops back. Because I think like Wijnaldum can do it. If you watch Wijnaldum play for the Netherlands, he scores a lot of goals, he gets himself forward, he attacks a lot, but I don't think he ever drops quite as deep as THIAGO does. THIAGO picks the ball up, and I think also he doesn't score a lot of goals, and he doesn't even register that many assists compared to Wijnaldum. But what he does is he's sort of like the player that makes the pass before the pass, and I think when we saw Minamino,
he makes the play.
When we saw Minamino in that number 10 role a couple of weeks ago, like, I can imagine that if we do that sort of diamond at the front more, with THIAGO as like the number 6 behind Minamino as the number 10, that's going to be the key link up. Like, THIAGO is going to be the link that joins Minamino to the front 3. And yeah, that's going to be a whole new attacking outlet for us, I think. A lot of teams are getting used to that front 3 kind of thing, and then suddenly we come in with this like attacking diamond. We've got a player as elite as THIAGO that's sort of in control of all that in the middle of the field. That's a whole other threat that teams have got to contend with, and I think it's going to be pretty huge for us, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of like an element of what Firmino does now. Like, I'll touch more on this when we talk about the game specifically, but in his debut, which was this match, despite the fact that I think he was playing CDM because he came on for Jordan Henderson as cover, he was still quite far up the pitch, and he got a nice amount of passes in and a nice few crosses in, despite being CDM, which would usually drop quite far back. And I think that's normally a position where you'd see Firmino in, but it allowed him to do that, and then obviously allowed Firmino to be used up somewhere else. And if we can kind of make Minamino our new Firmino, obviously that's, as you said, it's a new attacking force that people won't be used to yet.
Interestingly, since you just mentioned it there, he made a lot of passes and that and plays in that debut. Despite only playing 45 minutes, he completed 75 passes, which is more than any single Chelsea player managed in the entire game, in the entire 90 minutes. And it is also a record in the Premier League for a player that only played 45 minutes. It was 75 successful passes, which is the most by a player who only played a maximum of 45 minutes in the Premier League since records were being taken. So he debuted and broke a record, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah,
can't ask for much more than that.
And people might underlook that and be like, well, he didn't score anything, he didn't assist anything, but it's like, it's still like, he came on 45 minutes, he's already outpassed Chelsea. I mean, people who've had 90 minutes.
Like I just said, he's not really a goal scorer. He wasn't really a goal scorer for Bayern Munich, but he was a creator. He creates chances.
He creates chances.
Yeah, it opens up those key lanes. Like, we might not even see him link up with Mane and Salah that much, but I think if we got Minamino in that number 10 position, we'd see him link up with Minamino a bunch, or maybe Keita, and then on from there. Not to say that he won't link up with Mane and Salah, because he absolutely will. He can definitely do those long balls and like key.
He did a few times in the
passes to unlock a defensive team, which is, by the way, was what Chelsea were, but we'll get onto that in a second when we cover it. Anything else you want to say on THIAGO before we look at Jota, or?
Yeah, just welcome to the club, lad. It's good to have you.
Yeah, actually.
For real, it is exciting. It is so exciting that someone like that has signed for our club.
Oh, it's mad. Actually, that's one thing I was going to mention. There used to be a time where Liverpool were the kind of team where like players would come to Liverpool with the intention of moving on to Real Madrid or Barcelona or something like that, like one of the elite giants in European football. We never really signed world-class players. It's just not how it worked for Liverpool. This is like the first time that I can remember in a long time that we have. Even like Fernando Torres, like he was a kid at the time. He was like the new big thing, and we got him. But even he moved on. Like, I feel like this is the first time that I remember where it's happened. But also, he just won the Champions League with Bayern Munich. Yeah. So like, he's just come from a European giant to Liverpool. Like, we are the European giants now. We're the team that like people want to go to. And people talk about like the Mbappe thing, like it's a joke, Mbappe 2020 and Mbappe 2021. But if Mbappe was to leave PSG, Liverpool are absolutely one of the teams up there that he would be looking at and thinking, I want to go there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, we'd definitely be one of the key clubs. Like, it would be like Barca, Real Madrid, Liverpool, maybe City. So like they'd be all contenders.
We're not just like a stepping stone team anymore. We are the team that people want to be at, which is awesome. But yeah, so... And also, when you put all that in perspective, for the fee that we got him for as well, it's an absolute it's ridiculous. Bargain. Like, 20 million plus 5 million bonuses. And not even just 20 million. It's incredible. 20 million to be paid over 4 years. So, like... Yeah. It's a handful a year. So, fucking Michael Edwards, fucking... Yeah, what an absolute legend. I also mentioned the other day before the Chelsea game, before the lineup was announced, because we were discussing what else we would need going forwards, like maybe a winger and maybe a centre-back. And I did mention that with us signing THIAGO, his ability to play across the field in midfield means he could play CDM if he had to, which would allow Fabinho to drop back and play centre-back if, for some reason, one of our other choices weren't available, which actually came to pass immediately with the Chelsea game. But we will get onto that in a second. First, I want to cover the other signing and the other big news, which is Diogo Jota. Coming from Wolves for, was it 41 million? It was either 41 or 45, but I think a percentage of that was covered by a player swap. Yeah, Kijana Hoover has gone to Wolves for about 10 million, was it?
So, yeah, one of our prospects, I think it was 11.5 million.
11.5.
Yeah.
And then Diogo Jota's come the other way. I don't know if you know much about him, but from what I believe...
Jota?
Yeah.
I love him.
From what I believe...
I think he's fantastic.
He is around about the same level that Mane was at when we signed him. And a lot of people were saying at the time we signed Mane, maybe we've spent a bit too much there for what we're getting, and people said the same thing about Van Dijk. I think you could certainly, on the surface, looking at this deal, say the same thing about Diogo Jota. He, for 41 million, was it 45 million? That's one of the... That's like the high end of Liverpool spending, to be honest, for what we're getting.
Yeah.
It's not like he's a world-class player or anything like that, but actually if you start like diving into his stats and stuff, he definitely looks like he could be something special. He's only 23 years of age. He's definitely got time to build on him. I'm looking just at the European matches in particular here. He played 14 matches for Wolves in the Europa League and scored 9 goals, which that is a pretty damn respectable record. Also means he's got European pedigree. He can play across the front three as a winger or as a forward, which is perfect for us because it means now. Like, my opinion of Origi...
Either winger as well.
Yeah, my opinion of Origi has always been that when we miss Mane or Salah, things... Like, we struggle, basically. You take any one of them out, and it's not the same. Origi hasn't got the same pace. He plays a different style of football. And we definitely lose. There's just a drop-off. Like, Origi's a legend, especially for what he did in the 18-19 season. But I feel like the club has passed him by a little bit, and it's time we got someone more on par with Mane and Salah, which is not to say that Diogo Jota is at their level, but I think he definitely can be.
Has the potential.
Yeah, and he's got ridiculous pace. Craig can't be here today, but I know that was one thing you wanted to talk about, and he is crazy fast. Like, I think even... If we played him instead of Firmino, I couldn't imagine a defence in the league that could keep up with Mane, Salah and Jota going forwards, like breaking forwards. Like, that would be crazy.
Breaking the sound barrier, I thought you were going to say then.
But that said, like, we've got Minamino, who can definitely play in that Firmino role, and now we've got Diogo Jota, who can
He's got pace as well.
Who can play on either wing. So I feel like for the first time in a long time, especially with Thiago coming in as well, we've actually got 2 solid options for starting 11s, and what that might mean we'll find out as this year progresses. But for the first time in ages, we might start seeing Liverpool in the finals and the semi-finals of some domestic cups. Like, we might take the FA Cup seriously, we might take the Carabao Cup seriously for once, like, because if we're talking about like resting Mane, Salah, Firmino for the likes of like Jota and Minamino, and maybe we want to rest Wijnaldum, or if Thiago becomes our number 1 choice, we want to rest Thiago, but then we're putting Wijnaldum out as a second choice option. Like, that's a solid team. Do you know what I mean? And that, I feel like, is the difference between us and Manchester City, who compete for every single cup that they can. I feel like we're now maybe in a position where we can do the same thing. So
we can do that.
I hope to see with these new signings maybe some domestic cups this season, as well as obviously setting our sights on retaining the title. That's the main one for me, and the Champions League as well, to be honest. I just want everything essentially, but it would be nice for once to take the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup seriously towards the later stage of the competition, and I think we can definitely do that now without risking injuries or whatever, because we've got quite an expansive club now. So for sure,
there's less of a drop off between our backups now, which is great. It's exciting.
Yeah, and I would imagine Jota is signed knowing that he's a backup option, but I think he's going to get plenty of game time in the cup games, and he's a senior player. It's not like we're playing a kid in a cup game or something like that anymore. Like, we've actually got alongside Minamino, both senior players.
Yeah, he had a lot of experience in Wolves.
Yeah, and again, Wolves. European pedigree. So. I know it was only the Europa League, but like, he's going to feel at home in the Champions League and everything. So yeah, I think it's going to be like one of them signs that we look at in a few years and we're like, oh, what a bargain. Like, right now it's like, I'm not sure he's worth that much, but in a few years, look at Mane now. He's one of the best in the world, and people were saying the same thing about him. So I think it's going to be a similar thing.
And that's what Liverpool do best.
Yeah, you've got to trust Klopp. Like, he hasn't gone wrong yet on signings. So why should we believe that this guy's going to be any different? Is my stance on it.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's class as a player, and obviously someone at Liverpool, be it Klopp or Michael Edwards or the owners, they see something in him enough to value him at that price, despite the fact that it's a player swap as well. And I think I agree. I think it's going to be one of those we look back in a few years and go, class. Glad we made that.
Also, just on
signing, I just want to clarify as well. He has one of his records is he's scored a hat-trick within 11 minutes. That's amazing. I'm not going out there and expecting him to do that every game, but it's something to note.
It'd be quite a debut if he did, though.
I know. What a debut.
But it wasn't that long ago. Even probably last week, I think a lot of Liverpool fans would have been thinking, we're not going to sign anyone here. We've got Simicast, that's it. And then the window's going to close and we're just going to sit on our laurels kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, Thiago Alcantara comes in and then Diogo Jota.
Boom.
Like he came out of nowhere. So to take from that just trust the club and, leave it up to them and they'll do good by us, hopefully. But shall we jump into this Chelsea game then?
Yes, let's do it.
Right. As usual.
You got the stats up yet?
Should we start with the lineup?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Because for the first time, I think we were all together. Obviously, Craig can't be here, but we were all together when the lineup came out and could kind of do a live discussion on it. So, we had Alisson in goal, which was pretty standard. And then here's where things got a bit mad. So, in defence, we had Trent and Robbo, as you would expect, and Van Dijk. And then joining Van Dijk, in a surprise twist, was Fabinho. Which we will touch on in a second, why that was a surprise. But then in midfield, Wijnaldum, Naby Keita, Jordan Henderson, pretty standard. Missing Fabinho there, but the reason being he's behind. And then going forwards, usual front three, as we expected. So, initial reaction to that lineup, what were you thinking?
I read over Fabinho's name, not realising he was playing centre-back. Because then I was looking for Gomez or Matip, and I was like, wait, what? And I looked up and I was like, wait, Fabinho's in that role? And then I saw the midfield and I was like, wait, hang on, what's going on? What is going on? There's Keita, there's Hendo, what's happening? And obviously we've then really realised that apparently there was a minor knock to Gomez. I think it was during the warm-up or a training session or something. And I think Matip had a slight knee injury. So I think we had no other option but to go for Fabinho in a more defensive centre-back role.
Yeah, which...
and obviously play some of the others up front.
Crazily, I was saying, I just mentioned before, that Fabinho could do that role now potentially if we needed him to, and then it went and happened in the next game. And, he played an absolute blinder there, to be honest.
Yeah, I want to touch more on this after we've covered the game, but phenomenal job.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I've got a few things to say about it, but I will save it. So yeah, standard midfield, pretty standard going forwards. The big surprise, I think, for everyone was that Thiago was on the bench. And obviously that's coming off, was that 2 days after we signed him?
Yeah, less than 72 hours.
And I believe. I know, my personal belief was that we'd see him debut at the Cup game. I know Craig was thinking more sort of early October he would show up. But I do think he's obviously a world-class player. He doesn't need that same bedding in period that other players need.
Can I just add as well? I think the papers allowing him to play were only authorised that morning. I
wonder if Klopp knew about the injuries and knew that he had to play Fabinho as centre-back and sort of knew he might need someone like Thiago on a bench just in case things weren't going our way and we needed a Fabinho-like figure to drop in, and that would have been Thiago, which ended up happening for different reasons, which we'll get onto. But yeah, it was nice to see him. It's immediately, essentially. Simicast on the bench as well. Curtis Jones, Minamino, and Origi. Obviously, Adrian. So yeah, all of us. Well, Jake wasn't on last week, but me and Craig, neither of us predicted that lineup. I mean, certainly Thiago wasn't.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that would have been impossible to guess that lineup. We didn't even know he was playing for us the next week.
But I mean, even to slot Fabinho in at centre back.
Yeah.
Once again, we were wrong.
Yeah.
So
I think the point tally still stands at 0-0-0.
Yeah. The game itself. Initial reaction to the game.
Well, I'll go through the first half because there's something just before half time that I want to discuss. But overall, for the first half, I think we were pretty solid. I think we were at their end a lot more than they were ours. I think they had a few decent counter attempts. I think there was like 3, but one was a clearly offside run, so I think it wasn't counted at all. And I'll be honest, in the first half, I think Werner had 2 decent attempts at trying to, make a shot on goal. And I think he flopped it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I remember he put one
because wasn't he playing
wide,
left wing? Wasn't he playing more of a left wing role, and Havertz was striker role?
Well, actually, hang on, let me have a look. I've actually got the setup lineup. Chelsea number 11. Yeah, he was on the left wing.
He was on the left wing. So again, I don't know if that was just because he's not used to that position, or if it's because he's still settling at Chelsea.
Well, I mean, I have my own opinions on that. I'm not sure if we will discuss Frank Lampard at some point during this, but I think he's in the wrong position, essentially. But anyway, there was a point, it was an offside run, but I don't think he knew at the time, where he was one-on-one with Alisson and he put it wide, which shocked me. I remember saying to my dad at the time, that's embarrassing that for Timo Werner. Like,
yeah,
he's meant to be a world-class elite striker, and Alisson didn't really even need to move for it. He dived.
If it was a save, then fair enough. But it just went wide. It just
rolled wide, and there was no power on it. I don't know. It was embarrassing.
The other one, I'm thinking it was a similar thing, except it went just wide the other way.
Yeah. But in terms of,
so I was kind of like surprised.
In terms of that first half, yeah, nothing. It was. I feel like it was fairly even. Like, there was chances for us, chances for them. It was definitely in our favour. But I also think Chelsea sort of came to defend. Like, there was 11 men behind the ball all the time, which doesn't really... Like, I think they were relying very heavily on Timo Werner's pace, like, in the hopes that they'd catch us on a break and then Werner would be away and score, which...
They were hoping like, Trent wouldn't be able to handle that pace of Werner.
I think the goal was, and the reason he was on the left was because, obviously, we had Fabinho as our right centre-back, and they were probably thinking, it's a position he's not used to, it's a weakness that we can potentially exploit with Timo Werner, and things did not go that way for Timo Werner at all. Fabinho.
Do they know that though? Like we announced the lineup at the same time, don't we? So did they know that we were going to put Fabinho in, or did they know that Gomez was? Well, I mean, they must have done, because I don't think Gomez was even in London, was he?
No.
Or Matip. So they must have done. Yeah.
I mean, I would say that was their plan. Would have been to challenge. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, world class striker or not. You're going to avoid Van Dijk because he's Van Dijk. But I think they would have been like counting their lucky stars when they seen that we essentially had our defensive midfield as our centre back. But yeah, there was a number of one-on-ones with Timo Werner and Fabinho, and it was an absolute masterclass from Fabinho, to be honest. It was just like he just picked his pockets a number of times, just stole that ball. It didn't look at all like he was struggling. It didn't look like there was any nerves. It was just clean to every time after time after time, and you can't even put it down to like luck or nothing, because there were a number of one-on-one occasions with Timo Werner.
Yeah,
and like even
I think Werner is a good player.
Yeah,
I like him to death. Like he's sick, but he made it. He shit on him. I'm sorry, but he shit on him.
I mean, it was great.
He made it look so easy to shut him down.
I'm wondering whether, because actually Fabinho plays centre back for Brazil, so like on a national level, that's where he plays anyway. And I'm wondering whether this might be a more permanent role that we see him
natural role
with Thiago coming into the team. like, because I'm not even saying Thiago will take Fabinho's place. Last season, Fabinho was injured for a while, and we had to play Jordan Henderson as our defensive centre mid, and he did a phenomenal job at it. And I could honestly see us going forwards having Hendo as the CDM, maybe Keita and Thiago, or Thiago and Wijnaldum, and then Fabinho as the centre back. Because I'm not being funny, but like, that was a masterclass. Like, if I was Gomez and Matip, I'd be starting to worry. Because, like, I mean,
and if you're listening to this thinking we're exaggerating it, like, no, go and watch it. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was like, if that was a performance from Gomez, you'd be celebrating Gomez. You'd be like, oh, what a game, phenomenal from him.
Yeah,
but it was essentially third choice centre back, and he did a great job. So yeah, for me, I feel like he answered a lot of people's worries about our centre back situation. Like, it's not great that, you know, today. Well, the Chelsea game is a perfect example. Like, they were both injured. So we literally only had Van Dijk, and it's like, well, what do we do now? But then up stepped Fabinho, and he did an absolutely amazing job. And I can definitely see in the future us going back to that, and even having the likes of like Gomez on the bench, like, then that's a perfect option. Do you know what I mean? If suddenly
this is addressing the worry about Lovren leaving, by the way, and needing a third centre back. Because obviously with him gone, we kind of have like a missing spot if something was to go wrong. Yeah,
and like I say, he's got that pedigree. It's not like we've just thrown him into that role. He plays that role for Brazil. He knows what he's doing there. It's just not where we're used to seeing him for Liverpool. So, but turns out he's bloody good at it. So why not let him?
Yeah, I remember when we were discussing the lineup, because as you said earlier, we were all together for it. And I know, like, granted, he panics about everything. Like, he's always pessimistic about the games. But Craig was worrying a lot about Fabinho being in the centre-back role because he thinks he suits the CDM role more. Like, and Craig will even admit, he played phenomenally in centre-back. Like, I mean, I personally would say that should be our go-to if we need to. Maybe even compete with Gomez and Matip.
I mean,
and have like one of the stacked midfield we have.
If I saw a lineup,
like, when you think,
if I saw a lineup coming out and it was Fabinho and Van Dijk in centre back, Hendo holding midfield, and then like Wijnaldum and Thiago attacking midfield, I would be absolutely fine with that. I would have no worries. I'd be like, that's a solid team. I know for a fact Henderson can do that job as defensive mid.
Well, even if you don't agree with that, like, we've got Keita who can play a CDM role.
Yeah, but again,
so like
Keita,
the options
Keita's brilliant going forward
like,
as well. It's like,
I'm mental.
I don't know. Yeah, I just think we've got a lot of options now, but it's great. Again, it's like that City issue of like, who do we play? Because we've got so many choices, and then you look at the cup games, and it's like, well, now we've got a second squad that can actually be good. So
help us win those ones as well.
So I just
they
think
can still commit to the victories.
It's an exciting future for Liverpool, for sure.
Yeah, I am so excited. With these signings and these options that we've now recently uncovered.
But other than that, like, in the first half, nothing really happened like too exciting until the 45th minute.
Yeah, a fateful incident occurred in the form of a promising looking counter. By the way, can I just add, I know I've just said Kate can play CDM role. Jordan Henderson was playing it for us this match. What an amazing lob over, like, across the field to Mane running down on his own. Amazing ball through to him. Incredible.
Yep.
It just unfortunately got overshadowed by an incident that happened where I don't know what caused it. A lot of people are saying Kepa, Chelsea's goalkeeper, ran off his line to try and catch this ball.
Yeah, my opinion of it is that it was a Kepa mistake. Again, I think he committed too soon. Like, Mane was 100% getting to that ball. You're not beating Sadio Mane. Like, he's so damn fast. Like, and Kepa, I think, just committed too soon to the challenge. And Christensen knew Mane's getting this. He's going around Kepa, and then he's got an open goal. This is a goal, 100%. And then it's what you call a tactical foul of like, I've got to bring him down, because if I don't bring him down, this is a goal. How he brought him down though was
questionable.
A bit non-regulation. Like, I can't even call it a rugby tackle because it's illegal even in rugby. Like, it was above the waist, round his neck. He basically just wrestled him.
He literally just tries to piggyback Mane. Literally just piggyback him.
It was mental.
and it was ridiculous. It was so bad. I remember looking at it being like, oh, that's surely that's got to be a yellow, and then it played it back in slow motion. Granted, everything looks worse in slow motion, but I was like, nah, that's got to be a red. And basically, that is what happened.
Yeah, it was an immediate yellow, and then VAR checked it over, and they thought it could potentially be upgraded to a red, and then they sent the referee, who was Paul Tierney, over to the little TV to check it, watch the replay, and potentially make another decision, which, by the way, I think VAR has been way better this season so far. I think that's maybe like the 4th or 5th time so far this season I've seen a referee go over to the TV and check it again himself, which is something they weren't doing last season. So that's totally... I mean, it's led to the correct decisions in a number of things. Maybe... I mean, technically, the United decision with the penalty, with David De Gea coming off his line, technically, that was the correct decision. It's the rule that I have an issue with, but we're not here to talk about that anyway. Although we will when we get onto Alisson a bit later. But in terms of just VAR, I think it worked. It is working so far this season a lot better than last season. And in this perfect example, we came to the correct decision eventually. Christensen got a red, was sent off right towards the end. Well, it was 46th minute, wasn't it? So it was pretty much bang on. Half time, and then we had a second half ahead of us, 0-0, but 11 men against 10 men.
Chelsea and man down. Yeah. Also, just to clarify as well, VAR has been better this season. Is it 100%? No. Is it ever going to be 100%? Probably not. But, you know, it's not a perfect system. You're never going to get a perfect system.
I mean, the thing to take away from it is it's improved over last season, and it will continue to improve. And hopefully, eventually, we'll find that, like, perfect setup for it. But it's getting better, so it's good news. It's not going away, let's face it. So as long as it just keeps improving,
get used to it,
happy days.
Yeah.
So second half.
Obviously we walked out with a new CDM.
I was gonna say we walked out with
the reason for that is the reason for that is because obviously Jordan Henderson had an injury. I want to say a minor injury. I think I heard it was just a tight thigh.
Yeah, so we don't really know the extent of it at the moment.
True.
But there was no actual like challenge on him or anything that looked concerning in the actual game. Don't really know what happened there, but he didn't come out for the second half, basically.
Yeah.
Which led to...
Although it seems...
THIAGO making his debut about 2 days after he signed for us.
Which was highly unexpected. I didn't even expect for him to be on the bench.
No, I don't think anyone did. But then...
actually play.
Yeah, I mean...
He probably hasn't even met the whole team yet, and he's playing.
Yeah. However, he slotted in, like, straight away. He was right on it.
Yeah.
My opinion of him is that...
And again...
Like, because as I said, we mentioned earlier when we discussed him, these rumours about him coming to Liverpool have been going on for months, and I think he's not only wanted to come here for a long time, but sort of knew this was going to be his destination. I think he's watched a lot of Liverpool football. I think he knew how we play football, knew he wanted to be a part of it, knew he could be a part of it, and I think that's part of the reason why he slotted in straight away. He knew this was his destination. It's not like a last-minute move for him, and I think he knew he wanted to play this style of football, so I just think he's fitted in perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're looking at it so black and white as like, well, he didn't get any assists or didn't get any goals or whatever, it's like that. Well, one, to score or assist on your debut, I think, is like generous. It's like generous to expect that.
He did actually have a shot on goal.
But also, he did, and it was actually pretty good, to be fair, considering his distance away from goal as well. But anyway, like that, like he's not that kind of player for starters. And secondly, he's been, like, as I said before, he's been a LFC player for less than 72 hours. He's probably not even met the whole team yet. And yet, he completed more passes than any Chelsea player on that field for the whole 90 minutes. Like, broke a record, as James said, immediately in his debut. You can't ask for anything more than that when they've been here for like 2 days.
Yep, 75 completed passes.
Granted, there was a slight incident later on, but we'll get into that.
So probably the next big thing that happened, there was a substitution for Chelsea. Kai Havertz came off, but take off a world class signing. Why? Don't know. Weird. Frank Lampard. You do you, mate. Anyway, 50 minutes in, Sadio Mane scores.
Who did he get subbed on for? Who swapped? Who was it? Came on?
Tamori.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 50 minutes in, Sadio Mane goal.
I don't know why.
Thoughts on that?
Yes. This is the header one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Great position from Mane, and also great vision and skill in the chip, I want to say, from Firmino. Saw Mane,
it was
in the right spot, chipped it over.
Team goal. It initially started with Salah to Firmino inside the box, and then a little flick over the top, placed perfectly on Mane's head, smashed it in as well. Absolutely smashed it in. Some neck muscles there. Bottom left corner. Kepa was getting nowhere near. Job done, and we're away.
Beautiful goal.
And I mean, that was early, like I said, 50 minutes in. They're already down to 10 men, and
they were definitely
right off the bat. It's like bam, goal.
Definitely
here we go.
Seeing that missing defender. Yeah, definitely seen that missing defender, because obviously there was no one there to help cover Mane, so he could just slot into the right position, slap it in with his head. Job done.
Yeah, and then I think there was a foul by Fabinho. I think it was Fabinho, right just outside our box, which led to a Chelsea free kick. Mason Mount. And he just put it slightly over the bar. So not too dangerous there. And I feel like, honestly, that was probably one of Chelsea's best or even only attempts on goal.
But I also think Alisson looked pretty confident as well in that. So even if it hadn't gone over the bar, even if it was perfectly placed, I think he had his hand in the right position.
But it was never on target, so F. And then 54 minutes again, not that long after the initial goal, was the second goal, and this one is kind of controversial.
Yeah, very. So, I think this is going to make some people very unhappy, this one.
Yeah, was it Mane to Robbo? And then
I think he tried to play a through ball through to Firmino.
Yeah.
It got intercepted by, I think it was Zuma, who then passed back to Kepa. And for whatever reason, Kepa decided, you know what? Fuck it. I'll pass it through 5 yards in front of me through to, I think it was Reece James, who then Mane saw that he was going to do something like that and ran up to it, intercepted the pass straight in front of the goal, like 2 feet away, banged it in. Kepa had no chance.
Yeah. First of all, obviously, like, it was Mane's misplaced pass that got intercepted, but boy, did he make up for it. By the time that interception happened, Mane wasn't even inside the box. By the time it left Kepa's hands, Mane was in the box directly in front of him to receive that ball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that speaks volumes. I know they were saying on, like, commentary, like, if you're a kid watching this, that is absolutely the kind of mindset that you should have, that you should be seeing. Like, I mean, to lose a ball and then have the drive to want to make up for it immediately, cover your mistake and be like, I've messed up there, I'm going to go and sort this out, and for it to lead to a goal as well, it's phenomenal. How much of that was Mane's doing? Probably about 50%, and the other 50% just an absolute glaring mistake by Kepa, unfortunately for him.
Yeah.
Very, very reminiscent of Karius.
Yeah.
Sadly. But here's the difference. Kepa is a record signing keeper in the Premier League, so like he's certainly not living up to that price tag. Unfortunately for him, and I must say, in his defence, I think there's a lot of pressure on him at the moment.
I was saying to you guys, I feel so sorry for him, because a lot of the Chelsea fans and a lot of even other football club fans, like, they've got like a reason, not a reason to. I understand why they do it, because they're obviously angry. He's a record fee keeper. You know, he's not living up to the price tag that he was paid. But that only does worse for him. Like, he's shooting his confidence. The less confidence he has,
if you don't get behind them,
he's gonna perform worse.
Yeah, it's in the back of their mind the whole time. Like, and it just gets worse and worse. And that's what we're seeing happen.
Yeah.
And even after the game, the first thing they said, like, the press were asking Frank Lampard was, you know, what's happening with Kepa? Were you happy with his performance? You know, what's going to happen to him going forward? It's like, I don't know, man. At the moment, he's making a mistake every game, and I believe Chelsea are in the process of signing a new keeper right now, so he's not going to be around much longer.
Yeah, Mendy.
So, sucks for him, but that's the way it is sometimes. Like I said, I feel like Chelsea are in a very similar position to we were, like, when Klopp first came into the side. We had a strong side, but we were let down by our goalkeeper. Like, between Mignolet and Karius, we just didn't have a solid keeper, and that's where Chelsea are now. They've got, obviously, a hell of a lot of talent in that team, but until they get a world-class keeper, they're never winning the league. It's just not happening. If you're letting in goals like that, you just can't do it. Like, they already don't look good enough to me. Like, a lot of people were saying they were potential title contenders this year, but that performance, I mean,
I even thought that.
It was just a really comfortable win for us, I thought. Like,
yeah, unless they sort out that keeper situation and the players that they have now bought can fit into the squad more. If they get to grips with what they're trying to do, rather than being played in any position wherever for every different game. Yeah, I agree. I think they'll struggle to try and go for the title.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a 2-0 win, but I feel like, you know, at least going forwards, we looked fairly comfortable. So, like I say, Chelsea were there to defend, and there was 11 men behind the ball all of the time. Well, I guess 10 men in the second half, but like, it just, and that's normally where we struggle, and I think that's why I brought in THIAGO as well, because we need someone that can open up lanes in teams that are shutting everything down. And yeah, solid win, and a big message, I think, as well, to the rest of the league. City are yet to play. They're already 6 points behind now. And Chelsea, like I said...
Because I know a lot of people were thinking this is going to be our year sit-off, just try and
Chelsea,
recuperate, because obviously we've been going for like 4 years now, and...
Chelsea are dubbed as,
this
like...
might be the thing that convinces people.
Title contenders, and then it's like, well, we've dispatched them. We've got Arsenal next in the league. If we can do the same there, then we're absolutely sending a message. But
yeah, for sure.
In terms of the rest of the game, 64 minutes, there was a substitution. Naby Keita came off for James Milner, which allowed THIAGO to move up into a more natural position for him. James Milner went down to a more defensive role. And again, it just really showed off THIAGO's class, I think. Like, no more goals to be spoke about, but like we said, he broke that record of 75 completed passes. He was moving all about. He was opening lanes. He was doing what we've bought him for, essentially.
Yeah, I noticed in particular a few nice little crosses up to Salah and Mane. None of which obviously resulted in any goals, but, you know, that's not to say it never will.
Yeah,
I think actually one was, there was a cross over to Mane on the left. Mane managed to get round, sort of in their box, tried to play a through ball, and it went right past their goal, but unfortunately no one was there to just tap it in. But granted, he wouldn't have got the assist for it, but he would have created that play, which is exactly what we were saying before. He creates chances.
I tell you what I noticed. I want to say it was about 68 minutes in, but I don't know exactly. There was a moment where Timo Werner received the ball and was making a run downfield, and maybe took a slightly heavy touch, I don't know, but he knocked it into the path of THIAGO, who, the second THIAGO received that ball, Werner gave up. Like, his shoulders slumped and he just stopped running. It was like and the thing is, let's not forget, they both just come from the same league. They both just come from the Bundesliga. If anyone knows THIAGO and his ability,
they know each other.
It's Timo Werner.
Yeah.
And I feel like that moment when THIAGO received the ball, he knew then, like, it was game over. Like, he wasn't getting that ball back. There was no point in taking on the challenge.
Happening. Yeah.
And sure enough, he did like a pivot rotation and the ball left him and we were off again, forming another attack. And it was like, that moment for me was like, it was like Timo Werner.
We've made the right choice.
Yeah, like, and also,
yeah,
Timo Werner, as everyone probably knows, almost signed for Liverpool. There was a lot of rumours around us getting him. And it was like a moment for him of like, oh, it's like,
this is what I could have been with.
I'm down 2-0. There's this guy who I've faced many a time in the Bundesliga, now at Liverpool. He's got the ball. I've lost
one of our defenders.
It's not even worth
severely fucked up.
Going for, like, it was like this is what you could have had moment for Timo Werner, I think. You just seeing his shoulder slump and it was like, F.
I want to go back and watch that now. I didn't see that, but I want to go back and watch it. Definitely will.
And then there was quite a big incident, again involving THIAGO. 74 minutes in, there was a VAR decision on a challenge. Well, I say challenge. Actually, what was your opinion on what happened?
So basically, then I got the ball, made a decent run, managed to get to our box. He managed to sort of slip around Fabinho for probably the first time that day. And I think it was only because Fabinho saw that there was other players in the box also able to cover him. And THIAGO ran in and sort of great, like there was contact. There was definitely contact for sure. I don't know if feet got caught up in it or whatever, but it looks like THIAGO just slid, like grazed past him. And it looked like it knocked his balance off and Werner fell over in the box and a penalty was awarded. It went back to VAR. VAR just basically said the same. They were like, yeah, penalty. There was contact, blah, blah, blah. They are the rules, so I agree. It should have been awarded penalty, but what I don't want is a bunch of people going, oh, THIAGO, he's shit because he's gave away a penalty in the first game he's ever played in, blah, blah, blah. Because I thought personally, although it's the rules, there was nothing really in that. I think Werner just felt the contact and went, do you know what? I can get something out of this. I'll go down. And fair play, that's how you're meant to play, or that's how you can play. But yeah, that's my opinion. I don't think there was much in it. I don't think you should blame him. I just think Werner made the right choice considering he felt the contact. And obviously by the rules, that they are the rules. That is what happened.
Yeah, in terms of that rule, like, it was a penalty. And I always say, like, if you don't go down, you don't get anything. And we saw that. I can't remember what game it was now. It was towards the end of last season where Minamino didn't go down in the box after he was clearly fouled. Received nothing for it. It's a case of like, well, you have to go down then. This is why players go down, because if they don't, they're just not going to get anything.
You have to put on a performance.
I can't blame Timo Werner for going down. It was a penalty, in my opinion, although it was like a very light challenge. But my view on it is just that I think because it was THIAGO's debut, he just wanted to apply himself in the game, and he saw an opportunity to think like, I can steal this ball away from him inside the box. I'm capable of it, and then, I'll be a hero.
Slightly misjudged it.
Yeah, I think he did. I don't think, had it been in any other game, I don't even think he would have. Like, there was no reason for him to get involved there, and I don't think he would have normally.
There wasn't.
I think it was just debut vibes.
At that point, it wasn't even near the position he should have been playing in.
Yeah.
I think he just got hit at the moment, slightly misjudged it. Obviously, Werner then made true on that, and that's what.
Hopefully that's just out of his system now. Like, he's had his debut, he went well, he broke a record, everyone's happy, and now we can get on with him just being a regular player for Liverpool and doing what he does best and doing why we signed him. So I think it's all good. At the end of the day, it didn't lead to a goal, so it's happy days. And it kind of might be a blessing in disguise, because obviously we've already had the penalty shootout with Arsenal, and Alisson didn't save a single penalty, and I know like there was some rumblings between Liverpool fans of like, is he a good penalty stopper? Like, what's the deal here? But then, I'm not 100% on this, but I don't believe Jorginho has missed a penalty for Chelsea.
I think it was confirmed in his last 9 penalties, he hasn't missed a single one.
So, yeah, Alisson saved it very comfortably. Jorginho's got like some sort of signature hop that he does, which It's designed to beat the
I
keeper.
think it's more of a mental.
Yeah, and that evidently works most of the time.
More of a mental game.
But not this time. Phenomenal save by Alisson. Now,
Who didn't come off his line.
Yeah, the new rule now apparently is that if a penalty is saved, VAR have to check the save to make sure that the goalkeeper didn't come off his line. Apparently now the rule is that you have to have at least 1 foot on the line at the moment the ball is struck, which was the whole thing that happened with David De Gea. Net to retake the penalty. But yeah, Alisson, absolutely flawless. I think his right foot was on the line at the moment the ball was struck. It went bottom right corner. He got a hand to it, knocked it out, and then was it
fell
Van
to the
Dijk
floor.
that cleared it?
It was either Van Dijk or Robbo that cleared it.
But either way,
I want to say Robbo.
it was happy days. Ball got cleared, penalty saved. That's going to do wonders for Alisson's confidence. It's going to reassure all the fans that he's still got it after that Leeds game, and also that he can save penalties after the Arsenal shootout. And like I said, it'll do wonders for his confidence. Literally the complete opposite of what that game will do for Kepa. And And there was no goal, so the mistake by Thiago is written off. We'll forget about it, and we move. Basically, it's happy days.
Yep. Job done. Everyone did what they needed to do that day.
Yeah, I feel
happy with the result. Happy with the performance from everyone.
Yeah, generally there's not that much
few standouts
else to say
for
about
me.
the game. Yeah. Go on then, standout performances, and then we'll do a man of the match.
Robbo.
Yep.
Great performance, especially in the first half. Made a lot of chances, made himself available in a lot of positions. Got a few decent crosses into the middle. And I think at one point, I think it was either Mount or Havertz was running towards him, and he just faked a direction, turned the other way around, and he just fell on his
ass.
Yeah, he fell on his ass, and I was like, "Oof, amazing there, Robbo, nice." Yeah, it was good. Amazing. It was smooth from him as well, because he didn't even look back. He just looked effortless. Yeah, obviously Fabinho.
Yeah.
Obviously Ali, because obviously as we said, the penalty saved, and despite the fact that the other one was off target, I'm still confident that he would have saved the other shot.
Actually,
Mane, obviously.
I've
got the stats here.
I was wanting to see Chelsea's shots on target. Apparently, they had 3 shots on target.
3.
I don't remember.
We'll go into all of them in a second.
Yeah.
So yeah, Fabinho, Robbo, Mane, obviously, Thiago considering it as his debut, and Jordan Henderson as well for that vision. Granted, this is only one experience I saw of him, but it was an amazing vision and an amazing action to put us potentially, definitely, I want to say definitely, could have put us in the lead for that. So those guys ticked all the boxes for me. Not to say anyone did bad, but those guys stood out.
In terms of stats, 61% to 38% possession in Liverpool's favour. 6 shots on target.
62%. That makes 99%.
61.3% for Liverpool, 38.7% for Chelsea.
Okay.
Yeah. Way more touches. That's ridiculous. Way more passes.
Yeah, so I'll just go through. So Chelsea had 5 shots. We had 18. Yeah. Chelsea's 5. 3 of them were on target. We had 6 of them on target. Possession, they had obviously 38%. We had 62. Passes, we had 764. They had 488. We had 89% pass accuracy. They had 84. They had 10 fouls. We had 6. No yellow cards. 1 red card was given, obviously. 2 offsides from both sides. 1 offside for both sides. And Chelsea had 1 corner. We had 11.
Mm-hmm.
So stat-wise, we even dominated.
Yeah, I mean,
so we're looking purely at those. It should have even been higher than 2-0.
Well, like I said, Chelsea was...
That's without even taking in that they had a defender down.
Heavily defensive the whole game. So, that's the reason why we've got more possession. And
there's a call for, obviously,
they were just soaking
people
up pressure,
being played out of normal position.
18 shots to 5 shots. They were just soaking up. And I feel like that to me is the sign of a team that is not going to win the league. Like you can't win the league playing that kind of football. If you look at Manchester City and Liverpool, we're attacking teams and we're always on the front foot. We're always driving to score goals. You can't just sit back and soak up pressure. Occasionally you can, or you can make it part of your game plan. But like, you can't just go into games. Like certain teams do, but it's teams that are aiming to like stay out of relegation, or teams that are trying to hold a position for like a European slot or something. But like Chelsea as title contenders supposedly this year, it's just not a good enough performance.
Well, it's just they're clearly trying to go for the title for signing Havertz and Werner, people like that, and even Silva, Thiago Silva, and
who again he didn't play. There was no Thiago Silva, there was no Pulisic, so it wasn't like a fully 100% Chelsea team, but still, I don't see it personally. I think it's going to come down to Liverpool and City again.
I will say, if they keep doing what they're doing now, no. I think they're trying to... the players are still trying to get used to each other, and Lampard's just throwing them anywhere. He thinks that they do all right.
I mean, I just think...
Or trying to see where people would shine.
It'll be post-Christmas before Lampard's got any idea of what his starting 11 even is.
People need to play.
I don't think he even knows who his starting 11 are, and I don't think he really knows where to play everyone yet. And it's going to take months for him to work that out, and by that time, they're probably out of contention. Not usually... Liverpool being the only flipping exception to this. Usually the team in first by Christmas goes on to win the league. The only team that has never done that, has ever messed that up, is Liverpool twice, but we won't talk about that.
What position does Pulisic usually play? Is he striker, or is he like left wing or something? Or?
Yeah, I don't actually know. I mean, he's up there somewhere. I mean, for me...
what I'm thinking is that what he might be trying to do is get competition created within that. So just see if he can get... Because, like, Pulisic is pretty much a decent player, I think.
I mean, he won us the league.
I think there's some others in there that he's obviously not playing.
In a way, he won us the league. But...
Well, yeah, actually
Timo Werner is played centrally in a Bundesliga, and I don't know why he's playing him as a winger. That's what I don't get about Lampard. Like, this guy's known for scoring goals. I think
he's trying to...
But just stick him where he's meant
I think he's trying to see where people thrive.
Let him play football.
I don't think that's left. But yeah, I think Werner's pretty solid as, like, he needs to be a striker. I think that's his go-to. That's his bread and butter.
I don't think Lampard's got the right
Like, everyone else can be figured out, but...
For, like, these players that they're buying are all world-class players, and they definitely got the kind of team that can go on and do some damage in the league. But I just don't see Lampard as that. Like, he just doesn't have that strategic mind to me to get the best out of him. But we'll see. But like,
at least yet.
Right now, I just don't see it.
I think if you can figure out people's formation, people's like who his starting 11 is, where they need to play, who he needs to play at certain times against certain teams, I think they could be strong contenders. Will I say title runners now? Probably not, unless maybe if they swap out Kepa. But I think he's just, unfortunately for him, I think he is a time bomb.
100%.
Unfortunately, I feel sorry for him, but I think they do.
Manchester City were in this position once. They bought Ederson. They went on and won the league. We were in that position once. We bought Alisson. We went on and won the league. Like, it's a point.
I think their issue is
Chelsea are at now.
They spent 75 million. They spent 75 million on him. They're nowhere near getting anything close to that for him if they tried to sell him on again now. Yeah. So they're just trying to stick with him, trying to make a point.
He is not good enough.
But I think he needs to go, yeah.
So, simple
unfortunately for him.
Man of the match.
Okay. Came down to 2.
Yep.
Very, very close. Very, very close. It was either between Fabinho, who, for the record, was the actual man of the match,
yep,
and Mane, the obviously 2 times goal scorer. Fabinho did put in a good shift. Like, I think he was flawless. Like, the way he shut down Werner effortlessly, brilliant job. Fantastic. But I think playing defensively only gets you so far. The thing that wins it is getting goals. So I'm going to have to say Mane.
Yeah, I agree that it comes down to the same 2, but I would go with Fabinho as man of the match, just because playing out of position, and he had an absolutely phenomenal game, and he was up 1-on-1 many a time against Timo Werner, who is an elite striker. I think definitely picked him out as the weak link in the team to bully in the hopes of having basically an easy day and an easy time on the break and box off a few goals. By the way, Timo Werner hasn't yet to score for Chelsea. A little bit embarrassing there.
I know.
Being such a big signing, but yeah, I think he picked him out to bully him a little bit and got absolutely done by him. I think it was a phenomenal performance by him.
I'll be honest. Slightly controversial. I don't think he's been that great so far.
I mean, he hasn't, but again, I put that purely down to Frank Lampard playing him out of position, not really knowing how to get the best out of him. But that's a different story.
That's a whole other subject.
Yeah, Fabinho though, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal performance. I think he's put a lot of fans' fears to rest about maybe our centre back issues, and like I said at the start of the podcast, I can see him being in that position potentially more permanently in the future. So yeah, I'm giving him my man of the match, but that does not take away from Sadio Mane, who was absolutely phenomenal. And
yeah, 100%.
He was our biggest threat of the game.
Both of them,
and also like he scored 2 goals. One of them was absolutely a mistake by Kepa that shouldn't really have happened. But you can't take away from the fact that Mane's recovery from his mistake to get into that position and score that goal was absolutely world-class mentality, and that's the kind of reason that we have him, and it's the kind of player that we want to have playing for Liverpool. You don't want this kind of player, like, you look at the likes of Neymar for PSG. He's the kind of player that, like, once he makes a mistake or once the ball gets too far behind him, he doesn't track back, he doesn't recover. I don't know, it just, to me, he sees himself as like he's a little bit above all that. But it's nice to know that we have like such humble players in our front three that will do these kind of things and take it upon themselves to go out there and do that.
I kind of want to say no shit Sherlock when you put Mane and humble in the same sentence, but yeah, no, I agree. 100% agree. I wouldn't have been mad if it was either or. I think both of them definitely deserved it.
Yeah.
I'm not mad that Fabinho got it. I wouldn't have been mad if Mane got it. Both of them, I wouldn't have wanted to make the choice of who got it either way. I think they both did phenomenally well.
So, we've got a couple of games coming up. The next game Liverpool play is in the Carabao Cup against Lincoln City. So, I feel like we'll quickly cover this because it's going to be a hard one to predict. But do you want to do a lineup prediction or do you want me to go first?
I can go first. So, because this is the Carabao Cup, I reckon it's probably going to be sort of more of a B team than our usual. I think we'll try and, because it is Thursday, I think our next game is on Monday after that?
Monday Arsenal,
Monday
Thursday in the Cup. Yeah.
So I think we'll want some players to get as much rest as possible, so I think we'll play a lot of the kids, as it were. So I'm going to say Ali will still probably be in goal. I'm going to say if he's fine to, Matip. If not, Gomez. Virgil, probably still in position. I'm going to say Nico or Tsimikas. So not both of them, but one or the other. And obviously the main in the other position. So if it's Nico, then Robbo. If it's Tsimikas, then Trent. Curtis in the middle. Ginny. Oh no. Yeah, Ginny in the middle. CDM. I'm going to say Keita. And then I think probably the usual 3 sub out Firmino with Taki.
Okay.
That's my prediction for the Cup.
You've gone for a lot stronger side than I'm thinking. I think, first of all, I think it's going to be Adrian in goal.
Okay.
I think in terms of the back line, it's definitely going to be Tsimikas because he needs game time. So no doubt about that being Tsimikas. I think I don't really know the extent of Gomez and Matip's injury, to be honest. So I think it's going to be Van Dijk as the senior staple on that back line, and I'm thinking probably Sepp Vandenberg, maybe. And
mad. Okay.
I think Nico Williams could do at the time, but I also think Trent could probably do at the time. He obviously didn't really have a pre-season. He didn't train with the club. So I can see Trent being there, but I can honestly see it being either of them. But I'll go with Trent. Midfield,
Okay.
definitely Curtis Jones will be in there. So I think Thiago will get 90 minutes because it's a chance for him to bed into the team. I think it probably would have been his debut if it wasn't for the fact that we had those injuries at the back. So Thiago, Curtis Jones, and then I really don't know. It's definitely not going to be Hendo because of that injury. They'll want to rest him. So
Yeah,
I think
that's why I said Keita.
I think probably Keita. And then going forwards, Minamino, I think was going to get a start down the middle. Potentially Origi on the left, and then I think Harvey Elliott on the right with Mane and Salah both on the bench just in case if things aren't going our way. They'll
wrong.
come on and box off a few goals and sort out. So that's my thoughts.
I can see that. I respect that. That is definitely the option.
Score, I have no idea. Honestly, I really don't know.
I don't know how Lincoln City play. Are they a good team?
I mean, they're a League One team, so they're not even Championship. So it should be a comfortable victory for us. But I really don't know. I'm gonna say 4-1. Don't ask me who's scoring those goals, but only reason I think they'll score is because if it's the team that I think will play, we could be looking at Simicast, Nico Williams, and Sepp Vandenberg all in defence, and there could be a few holes that get picked apart there. We've seen Nico Williams get beat a couple of times, and Sepp's only young himself.
Especially if they play their usual first team as well.
Yeah, so I think they might sneak
I don't know how
one
good
away,
Lincoln City are, but
that'll be it, and then hopefully 4 goals going forwards, a couple for Taki, and who knows, maybe Mane and Salah will get a little run at the end and I don't know, do some damage, but yeah.
Well, for this one, we won't do actual goal scorers because it is the Carabao Cup.
Either way, I think
it's not as important as the Prem, but we'll just get the score in.
Liverpool. So I'll say 4-1.
4-1. Yeah. I'll go similar, but I'll say 3-1. Again, don't ask me who. Could be anyone, realistically. But I reckon if we're playing. I reckon if we're playing the team I think it is, I don't think we'll be trying as hard. I think we'll be saving a lot of our energy for the Prem. So I think we'll just try and take it easy. But I think despite that, we'll still get 3 in.
With that said then,
okay.
The next episode will be probably Tuesday night. Next Tuesday night because we play Arsenal on the Monday. And we'll cover Arsenal and we'll cover the Cup game as well. So do you want to do an Arsenal prediction?
Yes. Do you want to start this one since I started the last one?
Alright, so lineup prediction. We'll probably be back to our regular 11. So it's going to be Ali in goal. It'll be, I say usual back line, but I don't really know what these injuries are to Gomez and
we don't know what
Matip,
the situation with Gomez and
if Gomez is
Trent Robbo.
Yeah, Trent Robbo definitely. Obviously Van Dijk. If Gomez is back, then I'll say Gomez. If not, obviously it has to be Fabinho. So that messes up midfield a little bit as well. So midfield, again, is Henderson going to play? Hopefully. I'm hoping it's just minor. So I'll say Henderson is in there for this. Then it's going to be Thiago if Fabinho is back at centre back again, and then probably Gini. Let's assume that Gomez is in centre back. I'll probably say Fabinho, Hendo, Gini, because I'm also assuming that Thiago plays in the cup game and he gets 90 minutes, so they'll rest him.
Cup, yeah.
And then going forwards, it's going to be the usual front three.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna go out and say flat out from what we've heard, the centre back. Obviously, I could be very wrong with this, but I'm just gonna be optimistic. I'm gonna say I don't think the injuries that we've heard about are too serious. So I'm gonna say, obviously, Ali in goal. I'm gonna say Virgil van Dijk, Trent, Robbo. I'm gonna say Gomez does come back. Fabinho's in his usual role as CDM. I'm gonna say Henderson. I'm want to say Keita. Oh, actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to say Keita and Ginny, not Henderson. I think he'll still sit out a little bit longer. I'm going to say the usual forward three.
Score prediction?
Against Arsenal. What do I think? I think 2-1.
Goal scorers?
To us. I'm going to say Salah first and Mane second.
Okay, I'm going to go 2-0. I just hoping that we're getting a clean sheet again. And in terms of goal scorers, I'm going with Salah and then Minamino off the bench. And I think Minamino potentially could start this game if it isn't for the fact that we've got a cup game coming up, which I think he'll definitely start in. I think he could have started this game because of his goal against Arsenal in the Community Shield. I think he's going to have that confidence. Yeah. I think he deserves some game time, which I feel like he'll get against Lincoln, so they won't start him in this. But because he'll have that confidence coming off the bench, he knows he can score against Arsenal. I've just got this feeling that he's going to come off the bench and get a goal. So I'm going to say Salah. Then I think Arsenal are going to get very defensive. Firmino's going to come off. Taki's coming on. Taki's getting a goal. 2-0 win.
Okay. Yeah, I hope you're right with that one. I'd love that one. More than mine, to be honest.
But
I can just see Aubameyang either creating a chance or getting a chance. And
I mean, it's going to have a hell of a game.
But I think that will wake us up. And
again, if you think back to the Charity Shield game, his chances came from mistakes by Nico Williams, who presumably won't be playing, and we'll have a bit more of a senior back line, and hopefully we can just shut him down and then get Taki on, get him a goal, and it'll be a phenomenal game. And again, it's another big game, and it'll be another statement if we beat Arsenal. 3 points from Arsenal, 3 points from Chelsea. Let's go.
And of course, this as well is like two teams who have won both of their matches. So if we can beat, sorry, I was about to say Everton. Sorry, Everton fans. If we're about to beat Arsenal, could knock them down. Start getting them a little bit rattled, maybe affect the confidence a little bit, maybe of the team. Who knows? Who knows what happens after that? Yep.
Everton, though, just to touch on them, doing very well, looking like a solid team. Not going to be top 4 contenders, but doing incredibly well, and hopefully you get some sort of European football. I don't say you've got a bad team. I just think there's a lot of strong teams in the Premier League, especially after all these transfers. Yeah, but we'll save that for the Everton podcast. That is definitely not coming anytime soon. But what is coming soon is the next episode of Aftermath. It'll be next week on probably Tuesday night.
Tuesday.
Yeah, so we'll see you then. It's goodbye from Craig, not here. And it's goodbye from me. Not done it.
Make sure, wait. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and go and check out some of our other videos as well. We've got a FIFA series if you like football, so go and watch that. And now we can sign off.
Not done it.
Johnny.